the students for the solving the problems, as well as the learning outcomes are becoming more contextualized, because that is very important. We are not going to force them, and the contents are not established contents, it is a contextualized, so they have to talk about the relevant topics, and it can be broader in view, because they are trying to learn the whole world view, which is going to be all the aspects and newer perspective and broadened perspective. Also, they are going to use the pedagogy, which is going to be very flexible, and there the students are going to be responsive. All the students will be getting engaged. So that is very important. They'll get connected. And that is the word what we need to know. We need to see that the students are connected, students are engaging, because we fail to see that in the classrooms nowadays, because students are not connected. A teacher, when the teacher is going and coming, most of the teachers are having the burnout. So teachers burn out, like nurses burnout. The teachers are having the burnout, because I'm sorry, students, I think there are many students are here, and do not feel bad, because I too was a student, because we too, because after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, our concentration get lost. So what happened most of the time, sometimes take the water bottle and drink, sometimes we'll be looking outside, looking at the watch, because their concentration started to lapse, and totally the last 15-20 minutes we will not even know what the teacher has taught. So the connection between the content, environment, teacher, all that will be lost by the student. So this is very important. Transformation is very important, because that is helping to go with the student engagement. Next one. So similarly, we can say it is very importantly, the child can learn through discovery, and all the child can go with it's a student-centered approach, collaborative learning, practice-oriented learning, because it's going to link the theory into experiential learning it is actually. So it is also helping for a self-regulative learning. They can go with their own phases, and also they go with the real issues orientation. Whatever is the realistic problems, they'll try to solve. And also it's very important, because it is going to even the three skills what we teach the children: cognitive, affective, and skills. That is the psychomotor. It should be related to the objectives which children will learn, because it's nothing unwanted is required here. Whatever is needed, we can go and learning with themselves, learning with others, and also learning from outsiders. So the community involvement is very, very important. And here they are going with the cognizant learning, that is higher level cognitive learning. Next. So now we can see what is transformative learning, because I told teaching. So transformative learning is same thing, because here the child is able to expand the consciousness. I already told you, when the student is in the classroom, the children will become unengaged. They'll get lost. They are just lost from the scenario of the teaching environment, because they are not interested. They slowly go with the disengagement. But here the child will go for expansion of the consciousness, because that is a transformation where the child is going to transform themselves by learning the basic worldviews, able to know about their own capacities. They are also able to go with the consciously, they are able to direct the processes in teaching and learning, whereas they are able to completely appreciatively they can assess and receive the informations, especially the symbolic contents, is in an unconscious way. And this one, whatever they are learning, they'll try to critically analyze, and they are able to completely put into action. Next one. So here we can see, this is what old things which was done in old ways. So we all are talking about a boomer. So we all are boomer. Then we are coming to the other one, that is generation X, and then they are millennials and generation Z now. So these Z are zoomers. So if you're going to teach them the old things in old ways, or old things in new ways, no use. We have to teach them in new things in a new ways. That is very, very important. So teaching and evaluating, we have to go with the transformational learning, where we have to go with the e-learning, digital education, where the connectivityism is very, very important, and smart learning. So all of us are talking about hard workers, and we are nowadays appreciating the smart workers. Similarly, the learning also, the learners should be smart learners. So here they have to use differentiation. Differentiation is nothing but the differentiating instructions could be used Collaborative learning is very important. Mobility, they have to move from not only stick down to the classroom and other premises, they have to move outside, they have to go with the community, they have to involve with the community. And creativity is very essential, because once they started to collaborate with all this, the creativity will increase and the efficacy will come. So this will make them to attain the vision, mission, and they'll be a good leaders. And also the community, they'll be a very strong person in the community, very resourceful person in the community. So whenever we go with the transformative learning, experience is very important. And this experience will make the person to go with the reflection. That is a critical reflection. And this reflection will go for a reflection discourse, where the person will try to reflect and think, come with insights, come with new ideas, and that can be implemented into action. Next. So we can see next one. Next slide, please. Next slide. So here, when you talk about the learners, already we told when they go with the transformation learning, we have many theories. So these theories, when you see the person transformational theory, there are many persons like Sullivan and John Dewey. Many have been the theorists, but transformational theory exclusively was given by Jack Mezirow, who is the father of the theory, and he's talking about something new one called as perspective transformation. This transformation should be perspective, that is in the perspectiveness of the student or the learners, they have to go with the transformation. So the learner should critically examine, critically revise whatever assumptions, values, beliefs, whatever they have, and that should be done through reflective discourse, where they are trying to use the insights and ideas within which they are trying to generate by themselves and from others, help of others, and from the experience. So this person, Jack Mezirow, has spoken more about the adult learning, because that is what we need to concentrate now for the learners, because they need to. Learning can take place in any age and at any pace. Next one. So we can see. So this is the very important one, the 10 point, that's the 10 points. So where we can see there's a disorienting dilemma. So always the learning should occur from disorienting dilemma. What does mean by disorienting dilemma? Disorienting dilemma is nothing but whenever you see, you should always have some kind of confusion. Without a confusion, a person will not be able to know what is happening. So disorienting dilemma is very important. Without any stress, without any tension, the learners cannot know what to do. So this kind of tension is very, very important. So when you have a problem, so anybody, no one can be without a problem. Even we are saying, we pray to Almighty, we pray to God, we try to take the spiritual strength, saying that no problem should come to us. But no one can be without any problem. At least some problem should be there. Otherwise, we will not be able to pass on the time, because to pass on the time we need a problem. Similarly, whenever there is some kind of disorienting dilemma, some kind of tension, that will make the person to think what to do. So that will make the person to examine themselves, and they'll go with the alienation. Alienation is where they know that they are different and they wanted to come into that. So what they do, they try to go for, now they are trying to go with the they try to relate about the content. So what they do is they'll try to go with the whatever contents which is not required, whatever is not required. Now they'll try to reflect on that, and that content they'll try to discontent, and they'll try to discontent with others, and slowly they'll go with a new behavior, new options, where they try to replace this old one with the new one, and they'll try to go with the completely, they'll try to have a confidence in new ways, and also they'll plan for action. And this action, when they are planning, they should have a knowledge, thorough knowledge to implement the plan. And then they are going with the experimenting the new roles, and after experimenting the new roles, they'll go for the reintegration, where they try to reintegrate this particular new action into by replacing the older action. So that's what Mezirow talks about, the perspective transformation, which he is given as a steps. Next one. Next one. Next slide, please. So here we can see the steps, the same steps. I'm not going to talk about that. So whenever you're going with the steps, mainly we have to see that very importantly, that learning environment is very important, innovation is very important, inclusive pedagogy. So with the pedagogy, we cannot do anything. And similarly, also whenever we are going to use, we have to go with the professional development models, and also whatever we are going to do, it should have a data. So without a research, the theory and practice cannot be completed. So these steps are very, very important. You have to go with a critical assessment, reflect, revise, recognize, explore, experiment, investigate, and then only we can come into a new action. Next. So here, the three dimensions, as according to Jack, what he says is psychological dimension is very important. Everybody should have this because all are made up of psychological component. So psychological dimensions where it is going to have a changes in the understanding of the self, and convictional where we are trying to go with the beliefs. We have to revise the belief system. We should not go with the traditional one. Next is behavior. We have to change the total lifestyle. Next. Next one. Okay, so the four stages, which is very, very important because there I told about the 10 steps, but no, we can use this four. So, disorienting dilemma. Always we should see that there should be some challenging situation and there should be a lot of questions. So, we should make the children to understand why, what, why it has happened, what happened, or how it can be rectified, how, what, so that what, where, why, how, all these questions we should try to make the students to understand, because many times when you see when the class is going on, we will not know whether the students have understood our class also, because the problem is they no one is asking questions, which I've seen nowadays. So these things are very important. We should make the children to completely, they should be reflecting, they should be thinking. So we should create such an environment where we are going to go with the disorienting dilemma. Sometimes critical reflection is whenever we see, we have to see that we should make them to self reflect and reconsider. So like last previous speaker madam was talking about the pre-briefing and debriefing section. So pre-briefing, you see, the timing is very less because there we are doing the action, but the time is less. But debriefing is the one where we go for the reflection and feedback. The time is nearly more than 30 minutes because that is very, very important. That only can change one person completely. So we have to see that the older beliefs, older perspectives can be transformed into a newer perspectives where they can go with the new beliefs and new values depending on the self-reflection only. And they are going with the rational disclosure where they are trying to go in discourse, where they are trying to go with the newer insights, newer ideas, whatever they got by discussing with others. So it is actually, we can say it is like a dialogical learning where we can go with dialogue. Dialoguing is like we can talk to ourselves, we can try to talk with ourselves, or we can try to talk with others, and we can try to generate the ideas. And we should have all, for all this we should have a personal agency where we should see that the person can take the control on their own learning, and they can use a new perspective, and that only can help them to change. Next one. Next slide. Okay, so the transformational teaching is very important because it's dynamic, engaging, and impactful for both student and teachers. And it is very important because they can go with the new perspectives, they become confident, they become independent, and this is going for the success of the learners. And they'll go for they can contribute to the society meaningfully. So whenever we see the teacher has a lot of roles, like she can be a reflective teacher, she can be an effective teacher, she can be an inquiring teacher, and very importantly, transformative teacher. Next. So when you next slide. So when we see about the transformational teaching, very importantly mentoring. That also I think the previous madam has spoken about that. Mentoring is very important. Without mentoring, because that is like a nourishing, that is nurturing a plant. Similarly, we have to nurture the students. How to nurture? The plant will grow by itself. We don't want to do anything, but we need to nurture with certain things. Similarly, here also we have to nurture the students by guiding them, training them, supporting them, and also be with them with the success. And also we should try to make them to understand what is the realistic goals. We have to motivate them, we have to direct them. So all these are very, very important for a teacher, because teacher can be a facilitator here, she can be a director, or sometimes she can be a mediator. Next one. So here, the elements. What are the elements of transformational teaching process? First one is already I told, disoriented dilemma. So everybody will be confused. What is disoriented? You have to go with the dilemma, challenging situation, and that the child has to experience. We have to give that. Many times you see, sometimes teachers, what they do, they'll try to go with the odd man out. They try to give many things which is perfectly, which is going to match with the content, and one may be odd. So the children purposefully they'll put that odd out. When they put odd out, the children will be able to say why this has come. So that will make the children to think. Similarly, dialoguing is talking, that is making them to think. They talk with themselves, making them to talk with others, and also going for critical reflection, and very importantly, holistic way of rationalizing, where we can try to rationalize in a holistic way. Very importantly, we have to go with the three things. social, ecological, and cultural views should be taken into consideration. And transformation should be done emotionally. See, when a person emotional component is touched, the person will be able to go with the permanent change. So that is very important. This should not be the change should not be temporary. It should be permanent. Learning should be a permanent one, lifelong. So we should make the children understand. So awareness and of the context is very important, which context they are there. So that context is very important. For example, now the COVID situation is increasing in India, but now the COVID measures will be taken by the country in the people of Indian, the nationals of Indians. Whereas other countries, which is not that, they don't bother. They are talking about, they'll be thinking about whatever is happening. So in country where there is a war, they concentrate on that. So depending on the context only, the awareness should be given, and they have to go on reflecting and taking action on that. So whatever they are going to do, the action should be based on the revision and based on the exploration and then also investigation. Next, it should be also going with that process. What are the process? First thing is expanding the existing point of view, and then we have to add on new points, because mainly we have to see that which is mainly to this is going to support the existing habits of mind and transform the existing points of view and transform the habit of mind. So that is very important. So whatever is there in the mental connection is very important. Emotionally, we should change the person. Then only the person can totally change. So the whatever point of view they had, we have to expand it. We have to add new points, and then only the transformation is possible. Next. So next we will be talking about the key principles. So what are the key principles? So we can see there are many key principles. I think you can go with the next slide. The principles will come. Okay. So here we can see there are certain principles like student-centered learning. So here we have to use the student-centered, teacher-centered banking method, where the teachers are depositors. They'll try to deposit whatever knowledge they have, just transfer into the student's mind without knowing whether the student understood or not. But that should not be there. So it should be student-centered learning. Actively, we have to engage the students. Critically, make the students to reflect. Collaborative learning is important, and very importantly, the context based, the real world application, inquiry based learning. So we all know very well in inquiry, it's nothing but we make the child to reflect, rethink, and revise. And then next one, again, please go with the next slide. Go with the next slide. Okay, no, previously, sorry, previous slide, once again. So we can see other points like problem-based learning, service learning, collaborative activities, and reflective practices. Next one. So we can see the principles. So I'm not going to elaborate more on this, because there are many principles. Like first of all, we have to target the human rights, sustainability. Already I told UNESCO is talking about the sustainability. Based on that only, the transformation is very important in teaching and learning. And also they should also know about the value systems, morality, ethics, and spirituality is very important. Diversity, economic and social justice, and we have to mainly target about the equity, because when we target about the equity only, equity in learning is very important once again. And the education should be a peace education, and there should be conflict resolution, and the education should be holistic. It should have a broader view. Next slide. So there should be community-based learning, and indigenous wisdom is very important. So we have to target the community, simulation, experiential learning, incorporating the new brain neuroscience and skills of critical thinking, where we are trying to make the person's brain to work. So that is very important, because we cannot just only deposit and transfer the knowledge and go, where the child will be null, and null messages are not needed here. We have to make the child to be active.